The White House is mostly a reconstruction of the original. The mansion may have been built over 200 years ago, or so they say, but its skeleton was redone in the early 1950s. Did you know? Hello and welcome. My name's Campbell. This is Autodidactic Channel. Hope you're having a spectacular day. Thank you for joining me. And today, as I just mentioned, we're going to jump in and have a look at the White House in the 1940s when they did a lot of reconstruction work. So let's jump into it. And it was done under the presidency of Harry S. Truman. The Truman, right? Truman Show. So Harry Truman became president after Franklin D. Roosevelt died just a few months into his fourth term. And that in itself is interesting, but the next line makes it more interesting because Harry Truman was the 33rd man to become president of the United States. The White House was literally falling apart in 1945, or so they say. And this was all done because of an article that a reporter wrote. So in 1945, reporter Michael Beschloss, writing for the New York Times, said, "One day while President Harry Truman took a bath upstairs, a great blue room chandelier threatened to crash down on his wife, Bess, and her guests from the daughter of the American Revolution. The president later joked that he might have unexpectedly dropped through the ceiling naked on the ladies' floor, and he confessed that the incident made him nervous. The upstairs floor, he noted, sagged and moved like a ship at sea. So the next year, his daughter Margaret's piano fell through the floor in the room today known as the private dining room. Engineers did a thorough examination and found plastic in a corner of the east room sagging as much as 18 inches. Wooden beams had been weakened by cutting and drilling for plumbing and wiring over the last 150 years, and the addition of the steel roof and a full third floor in 1927 added weight the building could no longer handle. They declared the whole house to be of imminent danger of collapse." So the story is, and looking at this picture, they put a new story on in 1927. But when we look at the pictures from the 1800s, that top story seems to already be there. So what is going on here? And so they did a renovation. It actually says it would have been cheaper to destroy the White House and build something sounder, perhaps even on a larger tract of land, but Truman felt strongly about what should be done. So basically then they start to renovate the White House, and we're going to have a look at these pictures in a minute. And so here on Wikipedia, we have the normal story of he came up through, hardship and went to war and did all these things and was such a, upstanding pillar of society. But of course, is that the story? And here we have a picture of the famous American Freemason, Harry S. Truman. And it says, "My choice early in life was either to be a piano player in a whorehouse or a politician, and to tell the truth, there's hardly any difference." Interesting. Harry S. Truman was born May 8th, 1884 in Lamar, Missouri, to John and Martha Truman. His parents gave him the middle name S. Wow. After both his paternal grandfather Anderson Ship Truman and his maternal grandfather Solomon Young, also using a letter for a name was not an uncommon practice. So he didn't have, his middle name was literally the letter S. There you go, right? So in 1944, Roosevelt was elected president with Truman as the vice president, but only 82 days later, Roosevelt died and Truman became the president. He was left completely in the dark about the war, so it says world affairs, etc., etc., etc. But he was president at the end of World War II, and also that was when the Manhattan Project was going on as well. And Harry S. Truman as well was the man who authorized dropping the bombs on Japan, on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And it says, Truman once said, carry the battle to them, don't let them bring it to you, put them on the defensive, and don't ever apologize for anything. Harry S. Truman never did apologize for his decision to use the atomic bomb. Although today the decision to drop the atomic bombs on Japan is considered by many to have been morally wrong, it was not a controversial decision at the time. Because obviously, you know, the story of war, they were defending everything. Japanese were the enemy. So this is who he was, right? He was a 33rd degree Mason. He was the 33rd president. He was, he was elected as vice president, became president after Roosevelt mysteriously died. And then he basically closed World War II. He was there for the end of the Manhattan Project, and he dropped the bombs on Japan. And he also renovated the White House. And here we are at, this says whitehouse.gov1.info and the underground White House. And this article, I'll leave a link. It talks about construction that was done in 2010, building bunkers underground. But if we come down, it says down here, the White House tunnel system. Work first begun on the secret White House underground tunnel system back in early 1950 under the Truman administration. All right, so this is the pictures we're looking at, I think. They tell us it's a renovation, but when you see them, you'll have to make up your own mind. So the White House was deteriorating, and it was determined that massive reconstruction was required. For 3 years, while the interior of the White House was completely rebuilt with concrete and steel beams. During that time, a tunnel was built connecting the West Wing and the East Wing, providing access to a bomb shelter, or so they say. So they were building tunnels underneath the White House. And it says there is also a known tunnel leading from the basement of the East Wing to the basement of the Treasury building, which was built by FDR as an air raid shelter. And of course, isn't that always the story? They're always bunkers and air raid shelters and, you know, places to keep these things, you know, away from, or harm, I guess, away from the public and the havoc that they wreak. And so they're admitting there's tunnels, at least a couple under there. So, you know, how many are there really? What was going on down there? And of course, there's construction going on at the White House at the moment. And basically, ever since President Brandon got in, there's been a big fence around the White House. And we know that his press conferences are from a studio. So what's really going on there under the White House now? And has it got something to do with what was going on back in the 40s and 50s? So let's have a look at some of the pictures of the renovation. Okay, so to start with, this is just the outside, and you can clearly see this is a mud flooder. We've got now this, I mean, this, I'm not sure if this is wood or like cement block, but it's underneath the building. So whatever, even if it's new, there's an older foundation here, like this rock, right? This is a rock foundation, and they've built down. So there's levels under here, all right? We've got windows and things going underground. As you can see, this goes down further. And some of these pictures are pretty interesting, you know, like these tunnels that we find around the place. So this is inside. And I mean, as you can see, this is a red brick building, as we all know. Very old world building. And this is, you know, this was a building that was stolen from the old civilization is what's going on here. Now, this is in some of the lower levels. Now, look what they did to this place. They completely gutted it. Now, I'm assuming this is part of the original foundations, right? These metal, huge iron pillars holding up the floor. So if that's true, I mean, that's pretty much proof that this wasn't built when they said it was built in the 1700s, because they couldn't make these. And what's this? Do you see this? Does that look like a tunnel? I probably can't say too much more on that, but under the White House, guys, a tunnel. Again, this is another shot, red brick, and you can see huge beams, and they've just, the floors collapsed here. So all wooden floors, which we know, they're all masonry buildings, brick, and all the floors and everything seem to be wooden in them. Just, you know, we can see the old world facading up here. And, you know, there's a lot of pipes and things, right? Not sure what this cable is. This looks like an old fireplace. So I guess that's the you know, a void, which we're told is a chimney in the background. But we do have, you know, it's hard to see, but trying to look for wiring and things that really shouldn't be there. But also check out this ceiling that's been put in, you know, all ornate and very thick. This is one of the chandeliers. I mean, look at the size of that thing. I'm guessing that's the one that almost fell down. And here we get to the good pics. I mean, look at this. This is, you know, a truck, right? And a bulldozer digging out under the White House, but the walls are still going down. They're not in the foundation. I mean, this thing, you would think it would have to have a big foundation, even if it's just under the walls. And even then it would be coming out here somewhere. So this isn't the bottom, and they're digging down. Why are they digging down? Is this where that tunnel was, maybe? This. Okay. So this is what went on in the 40s. Complete renovation. Here again, outside, you can see here we have a foundation. And I'm not sure where the level here is, but it's up here somewhere. You know, this would be the lowest bit that the ground level was at. I mean, look how much is down here. So of course, we know this is a sunken, mud-flooded building. Again, they've just smashed the walls down, all red brick. And I don't know, what's that going underneath? Some of the machinery and things that they were using. This looks like poured cement. But as you can see, this is like a massive warehouse down here. Again, these beams, like this is how it's made. Like these are all supporting beams. It looks like they're part of the original structure to me. Now these rivets look like old world rivets. And they're the ones that, you know, you used to see on the cartoons, and they used to heat them up and they'd smack them into the holes, you know, the old rivets, and then they'd expand and make a proper joint. And that we don't use these anymore. We sort of got this story that they were used up to the sort of the 50s, but I mean, when you need to heat a rivet to red hot to get it through this hole, I mean, how practical is that when you're building something in the 1940s and 50s or before? How are they heating them up so quick? And because look at the amount of them. And that's why they don't use them anymore, because it's too hard to do. Look at these columns. What have they done here? Smashing holes in all the columns. I wonder why that is. Maybe they're trying to run cables through them, but it shows you that these are hollow. So, I mean, you know, definitely they could be used for support as well. But, you know, this is the thing. We've got so many columns everywhere, and I always wonder, you know, are they for wiring? Are they for water? Are they just, you know, tubes, basically? Again, red brick building. Out the front. I mean, even this machinery, it's so antiquated looking now, isn't it? And this was back in the 50s. But, you know, so all these pictures we see of the facading up on this building, you know, and all the old buildings, it's all, I mean, clearly this is not 1700s, but it's just all refacading. It's all they're doing, renovating, renovating. So novate, novation, the substitution of a new contract for an old one. The new agreement extinguishes the rights and obligations that were effect under the old agreement. A novation ordinarily arises when a new individual assumes an obligation to pay that was incurred by the original party. But basically, it's when you go in and you change the contract. So to renovate, to renovate, is to just change ownership and contract. So basically, just what they do, right? They go in and they find a building. They say, well, this is ours now. We're taking it, and now we're going to renovate it. That's a legal term. They're changing, you know, the contract, substituting a new contract for an old one. That's what they're doing, stealing buildings. All right, so this is the deal. Here we go, another shot, of course, and this is what we see in a lot of construction photos. Not that I'm saying this is a construction photo, but, you know, lots of scaffolding, and all they're doing is renovating, right? Changing the facade. Again, trucks and you know, bulldozers in the White House. I'm not sure if they smashed this open to get them in. Kind of looks like it. And again, all this old world ironwork, which to me looks like an original superstructure. Now they'll probably say, oh, we had to put that in later to stop it collapsing. I mean, but really, it looks old world to me. I don't know. That's just what I think. Obviously, lots of wood. That's a pretty cool arch they've done. So, you know, all the interior walls and everything were wood by the looks of it, the floors, but the outside and the superstructure was always masonry and iron. Here are some stairs. Look how thick these walls are. And what are they doing here? Okay, mudflood windows. This is the level, right? The first level, mudflood windows. And they're building this going down another level. So what's underneath this, right? Because at the moment, there are fences around this building and no one can go in, and there's lots of work going on, you know, maybe like this, right? But are they, I don't know, reversing what was done, uncovering what was done back in this time? Because why all the work, you know, they say they're renovating it, but why are they digging down so much? And why did we see that tunnel? It's starting to look, you know, like they were, you know, doing their thing, right? So again, just really interesting pictures, and considering who, you know, this guy was with his little hand, right, in his pocket. He's got his little eye here, upside down triangle, little wizard's hat. And of course, he's judging us, right? Freemasonic emblems. And his name is Truman, right? The Truman Show. The 33rd president. Who would have guessed that? Here we go again, just showing you the depth down here. There's doorways down here. Look at the width of this wall. So I'm not sure, again, if this is, you know, if they've uncovered it or if they've built it and they're just renovating it, right? Putting some columns up to strengthen it. I don't know. But whatever it is, there's something, you know, they got doorways down here to go through. right, underground. And again, at the moment, the White House is all cordoned off. Or windows underground level, or air vents or something. These are the mud flood windows we could see. And again, look at the size difference of this window to this window. And over here, what's this? On the other side. Does that look like a doorway? So, did they collapse what was in here maybe? Or did it collapse and they were just joining this back up to whatever was underground? And of course, from within as well. So yeah, I've never seen these pics before. So pretty interesting, hey? And of course, with all these pictures, there's no picture of any work being done on this ironwork. So it hasn't mentioned it in what I've read. So I'm guessing this was original. And if that's true, then that's proof 100% this is an old world building. Not that we don't have lots of other proofs. Here's the iron again. And see, they're just using wooden stuff by the looks of it. He's got this tied to a hoist. So they're not putting in this ironwork. But they are digging down, right? Again, what's this? All right. You can't tell me they just built this. This is half smashed, half buried in rubble, and that is going down somewhere. So that's the last one. So there you go, guys. What do you think of that? Did you know that they renovated or renovated the White House in the 40s under, of course, the 33rd President, Mr. Truman, and his show. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Something a little bit different. Thanks for joining me. And guys, thank you so much for all your support and everyone who does support this channel. Please give me a like, share this around, hit the subscribe button. And if you hit the bell, you'll be notified of all future uploads. And of course, thank you to everyone who supports me through PayPal and Patreon and my merch store. I really do appreciate you all. And yeah, guys, thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed that one. Stay awesome, and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.
You can take your face mask and you can shove them where the sun don't shine.